Now this takes us to a French photographer, scientist, and inventor named Etienne Jules Marais. Now Marais invented a sort of photographic gun that he could point at an object, pull the trigger, and it would shoot a series of film, and he would capture 12 shots per second or 12 frames per second of whatever image he chose. And he could shoot at anything, birds, people that were exercising. His two favorite subjects were birds and human athletes. And he would literally shoot his gun at them, capturing their motion with his camera, which is also what led to the term as I'm going to shoot you, as in I'm going to film you. Okay? Marais created this gun, which he called the chronophotographic gun. Now, Marais' chronophotographic gun caught the attention of an American inventor named Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison, along with one of his lead scientists, W.K.L. Dickinson, were inspired by the chronophotographic gun to create their own motion picture camera. So Thomas Edison sent Dickinson over to France. Now, with what Edison and Dickinson learned from the chronophotographic camera, they created the first true motion picture camera ever invented, which was the kinetograph. Now, Thomas Edison and his team's invention, the kinetograph, created films that were seen all over the world through their viewing device called the kinetoscope. Now, the kinetoscope only had one flaw, and that is that only one viewer at a time could actually look through it. Now, Edison thought that this would maximize profits because he would get a penny from each viewer. But two French brothers, the Lumiere brothers, had a different idea. They were enthralled with the idea of motion pictures. So they created a motion picture camera that also doubled as a projector. They would film their films, then they would take it out, process it, and then they would put the processed film back into this camera/projector, and they would be able to project it onto a wall for audiences to see. Now, this revolutionized film viewing, because now not just one person could see a film at a time, but an entire audience, 10, 15, 50, 100 people could see the exact same movie at once. Now, this opened up the world to a lot of ideas, but the two men that pioneered filmmaking, Thomas Edison and the Lumiere brothers at the time, they really didn't get it. They thought that film was really something that should be used for educational purposes, to document historical events, or, something that would just be a novelty. They really didn't see the bigger picture. Now, the Lumiere brothers and Thomas Edison, they just couldn't see past their own invention. They only saw it for the novelty and the machine that it was. But soon, other men came along, and they took these devices made by Edison and the Lumiere brothers, and they used them and manipulated them, and they saw the potential to make them into amazing storytelling and narrative devices that not only could tell a story, but could manipulate images, you could make special effects out of it, and there's a whole slew of things. One of these men that made amazing advancements was Georges Méliès. Now, Georges Méliès was a theatric, he was a magician, a mechanic, and he made some wonderful advancements in both special effects and storytelling that are used even today. But that's information for another video. Okay, so to recap, motion pictures have been around for thousands of years. However, the way that motion pictures are shown to the public has changed greatly in just the last 150 years. For centuries, the only motion pictures that you could have would have to be hand-drawn and flipped over or spun around like in a Zypraxiscope. But since the 1870s, we have been able to have motion pictures that are made by actual still photographs of real people. And we still have animated pictures as well. But this process of creating motion pictures from realistic captures of humans, of animals, or of real life revolutionized motion pictures. Thanks to the work of Thomas Edison and the Lumiere brothers, we had a foundation to build real motion picture creation from. And even though those men didn't create the movies that we know and love today, men like Georges Méliès and Edwin S. Porter, they created the first movies that people loved as narrative stories. And from there, it went on until we have movies today like, Star Wars, Citizen Kane, Sharknado, all the Marvel movies. Just for better or for worse, movies are here and we love them. Next time, we're going to talk a little bit more about Georges Méliès and Edwin S. Porter, the impact they had on filmmaking, and how the Americans, Germans, French, and English We're in a war to make the best movies possible. Talk to you guys later.